LA County's top prosecutor, George Gascón, took office more than a year ago, winning his seat by more than 53%. But since then, more than 30 cities have issued votes of no confidence in him, and almost 98% of prosecutors in his own office support a second recall effort against him. Tonight, in depth, we talk to Gascón about one of his most controversial policies, and we speak with crime victims' families who say loudly they are being denied justice.
My mother was the life of the party. She was a fun, caring, loving spirit.
Taisha Harvey was a little girl when Daryl Collins first came into her mom's life.
He told me he was gonna marry my mother. He was like real charming.
It was a brief relationship. Then, in 1997, Collins was convicted of killing 2 people. Last year, after serving 25 of his 50-year-to-life sentence, Collins was released on youth parole. The law school students who helped with his release said he had transformed from being someone who was so traumatized that he acted out violently when he was young into a mature adult who is committed to peace building.
He kind of like popped up out of nowhere.
Collins and Taisha's mom, Fatima Johnson, a mother of 6, were back together. Taisha and her sisters were well aware of Collins' violent history.
We didn't agree with it, but when you love someone so much, you support what they do.
In July of last year, Johnson was a no-show at work.
Police want to know who killed a woman in her own home.
She was wrapped in a blanket and her hands were bound and her mouth, she was gagged. Her face was sunk in. It was beat so bad.
Collins was arrested, suspected of killing Johnson.
Her want and her need to be loved, that was to the death of her, literally.
This less than a year after his release.
There are going to be exceptions.
I think Daryl Collins has proved that people are creatures of habit.
If Collins is found guilty, the double homicide from his past may not count against him. LA County DA George Gascón's directives eliminated enhancements like multiple murder, but recently he said, quote, "After listening to the community, victims and colleagues, I understand that there may be the rare occasion where filing of special circumstance allegations may be necessary."
Some of these cases, frankly, I have a hard time sleeping sometimes because I'm really trying to put myself in the place of the family, but I'm also trying to put myself in the place of the larger picture.
Taisha hopes Gascón will consider her mother's case a rare occasion, that he won't take the chance of Collins being released again.
Who am I to say 20, 30, 40 years down the line that there's a breakthrough of some form?
With no enhancements, he could be out in 20 years on elderly parole.
That's my fear. He'll get out and he'll repeat the same thing. How can you not hold him accountable?
He will be. If he is found guilty, he's going to go to prison for decades. And frankly, this is the kind of guy that a parole board is never going to release.
Donna Hill voted for Gascón, convinced her late son's case would be handled quicker by the new DA.
It was just a slap in the face, and I swear, as long as I've been voted in this country, that is one vote I wish I could take back.
It was April of 2018. 2 friends, Michael Pollard and Devon Carter, were at this recording studio in Studio City. Shortly before they got here, they had been in a fight with another friend, Ephraim Demery. Police say Demery drove across the street to buy a lighter and gasoline. Then he went back to the studio. Demery set a hallway on fire. Pollard and Carter were burned to death. 2 others were injured.
What really hurts is to know that I wasn't even there.
These 2 mothers.
I think about them being afraid and trying to get out.
Each lost a son that day.
Nobody was there.
We're here to announce the arrest of Ephraim Demery.
Demery lived with Lodi Pollard and her late son, Michael.
A couple of times. But still, I never thought in my life that he would take Michael's life.
He was initially charged with 2 counts of murder, multiple counts of arson.
It started off to go with 100 years with life without the possibility of parole.
Gascón ordered the special circumstances be dismissed.
And then they give him an offer.
Demery pleaded to 2 counts of murder for a sentence of 50 years to life.
It's very difficult for me because I am a parent. I am a grandparent.
Everything he did, it was on video. So no, I don't understand that. It's not justice for all.
The moms especially don't understand after Gascón's decision to consider special circumstances again. The adjustment to his policy, not retroactive.
When we do LWOP, much like when we do the death penalty, right? We wipe out any opportunity for redemption. We wiped out any opportunity for future generations to apply their values and their needs and their context to the moment.
Gascón says data and science suggest LA County has become so punitive and criminalizes so many so early on, not enough time is spent on rehabilitation.
The reality is about 95% of the people that we incarcerate are coming back out. And generally they're coming back out on a worse place.
I believe in second chances, but I don't believe in a second chance for him.
Veteran LA County homicide detective Steve Blagg is on the case of Maurice Taylor and Natalie Brothwell.
He admitted to murdering both of his children and decapitating both of his children.
The couple's other 2 children were shown their siblings' dead bodies in the house for days.
They're never going to have a normal life again because of what they have seen.
With multiple murders, Detective Blagg expected special circumstances to be alleged, but none were applied.
We are not able to tell a victim's family with all certainty that the person who committed the crime and took their loved one from them will face the full weight of the law.
Kathy Cady was an LA County deputy DA for 30 years. She recently came out of retirement to represent crime victims and their families pro bono. She's also leading a second recall effort against Gascón.
You don't want to have to wait until you're a victim to realize what is happening in Los Angeles County right now, and that victims are not being listened to, and that our community is really being endangered.
We're sending people to prison for a very long time. We're not giving people to get out of jail. And some of those folks, by the way, may never get out. I have no way or shape with a straight face to say you're wrong for wanting the death penalty. But I think that you have to look as a society and from a public policy stance. Are these good policies?
Now, when he was DA in San Francisco, Gascón says he met with every family on homicide cases, but with the sheer volume of those cases in LA County, he simply can't. But he says someone from his office should always be in touch with victims' families. In the next Inside LA County Justice, we take you inside a classroom where the instructors are those who were once locked up for egregious crimes like murder. What they're doing now to steer others away from making those same mistakes.